Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, Signal here, welcome back to our video. In this one, we're going to talk about Labor Day in terms of what happened in the previous years in that sale, so you can kind of form some expectations as to what is going to happen this year. This is kind of a series that I have on the channel, this history of a certain sale, and I haven't done this in a bit. And it's not because I'm lazy, because to be honest with you all, this is a lot easier to do than the usual 40-minute soul raid video. But I'm getting forgetful with age, and somebody mentioned that in the comments of the last video, and that's why I remembered about it and I'm doing it. So if you like this series and if you want to see it for future sales, I would really appreciate it if you would remind me. Also, I have no idea what's gonna happen this year, and we might even not get a sale this year because that happened in the past where they just straight up forget about the sale. So don't blame me. I'm just recounting what happened in the previous years, and with all that out of the way, let's get into it. First up, 2017, all I was able to find was a 20% discount on all gem packs purchases on the store. This is obviously relevant for today's standards because we got much better packs and some people have access to some pretty good offers on Tabjoys, so it's kind of irrelevant, but they were not doing that huge events back then. The game just released, but yeah, let's move on. So my bad with the previous one, I was not able actually to find anything for 2017 and the Power Gem discount was for 2018. So now we get into 2019, we get some things here. First of all, we got a sale on the League of Anarchy chest that I don't think exists anymore, the one in the bottom, because now it's a bit changed. Looks like it. The closest thing we got to is the 400 gem cost of the League of Anarchy chest. I think this chest got reworked into that as soon as they got reworked as a whole team. And back then they were not what they are today. So don't really mind the chest in the bottom because it's more or less irrelevant. But the Anarchy Trio chest is something that's still in the game, though it only comes around like once or twice a year, and for the or even less than that, or once every 2 years. But for the purpose of unlocking and maxing League of Anarchy characters, that is actually the most efficient chest in the game. So yeah, that was everything for 2019, and most likely some paid offers that I was unable to scour through the internet. But yeah, let's move on to 2020. So as far as 2020 is concerned, I got some explaining to do because you might see there artifact chests. Sigma, what is that? Did we have chests for artifacts? Were they not only in the paid offers and in the once a year raid drops? Yes, we did indeed have an artifact chest. And first of all, the chest got introduced with only the Azure artifacts that you can drop from soul raids now, which is 99% of the drops, and back then only from league raids. I mean, soul raids were released at the time of this, but when the chest first got made, the artifact just only had the league artifacts, the Azure artifacts. Then when Dawn of Apocalypse came in, they just added those artifacts on top. Like every single artifact, like the Entropy, all the ones that you can get from the paid offers. And this just still exists in that form specifically. I think I've seen it once the last year, where it has all the Azure artifacts and all the Dawn of Apocalypse artifacts. And people were complaining back then when they saw this, just because the chances of getting a good artifact or the desired artifact were abysmally low. Now, well, the situations today is a lot worse because the newly released artifacts are kind of pay to win because you can't get them from a chest. And do not go in the comments and tell me that you can drop them from Soul Racing. Well, nah, bro, that's what? That's too not often to be reliable a way of grinding them. But the artifact chest did exist, and it still kind of exists, but it only has the Azure artifacts and the Dawn of Apocalypse artifacts. So not the most essential chest, even if it was to come back. But just to let you guys know, it existed for Dawn of Apocalypse. They changed their mind as soon as Rise of Krypton released, where they would not put the artifacts and chests in the game anymore. And yeah, that's where we are at now. Though this chest still exists, it made a very weird appearance during the last year, as far as I remember. But it only has the Azure and Dawn of Apocalypse artifacts. And then we had the Platinum chest. It's very outdated, honestly, right now. But back then it was not that terrible because we didn't have those much better legendary chests. Like, look, we got a bit of a balance here. We got the worst situations with the artifacts, but a better situation with legendary chests because this was considered back then pretty decent on a sale because it had 0.5% chance, as far as I remember, for each of these characters. So a total of a 2.5% chance, or maybe a tree. I think Manta might have had 1% chance, and this was considered pretty decent chess. And now I have chess for legendary characters that have all the way up to 8%. So the platinum legendary chest is just garbage. Don't buy it if it ever comes back. It's simply outdated. We get better stuff in the game currently. Okay, so 2021 is where the fun was at, and I know this might look a bit confusing, but let me explain. First of all, the most left side of the screen, you might see my face on it a bit, because I was unable to crop it, because I did a video on this, I got the images from there when the sale happened, and this just sadly happened to be in the most left side of the screen, which meant that my camera was always hovering over it. But it was 500 gems as far as I remember, so we have that information. Now let's go over each of the chests and let me explain them, because they are a bit weird, okay? They are a bit weird, and for some reason this is one of the most loved sales and one of my most viewed videos in terms of the talking about the sale and opening chests for the sale. But yeah, getting into it, first of all, we're going to have the Platinum chest that costed 500 gems and had a 1% chance for Arkham Knight Batman, 1% chance for Raven, 1% chance for Golden Armor Wonder Woman, Harley, and Superman. It's not the best chest, definitely. If we got it today, I wouldn't necessarily recommend you buy it, because the thing is, it has only a 1% chance for a must-have character, which is Raven, and only a 1% chance for a pretty good character, which is Arkham Knight Batman. The rest is absolute garbage. And yeah, that was pretty much kind of the advice I gave when it came to that chest too, I think, maybe. Though you need to keep in mind that 2 years ago, Platinum chests were a lot worse than they are today. So there were other standards they had to live up to. Now, getting into the fun stuff. We had some Labor Day chests, and the price on them might seem very high, but at the same time you see an X number of chests, right? The X number of chests means how many rewards you're getting. So for example, on the second chest here, like this one specifically, when you're opening one, you're not really opening one, you're basically opening two for the cost of 500 gems. On the next one, when you're opening one, you're not opening one, you're opening four for the cost of 1000 gems. So that makes effectively the chest price at 250 each. And for this one, when you're opening one of them, you're opening actually 8 of them, which is actually priced. That's priced a lot better than the other chests. It's priced like less than 200 gems each. Yeah, I think that's the math. It's less than 200 gems per character chance if you do the math that way. Now let's take a look at the. I'm sorry if you're hearing some banging noises. The neighbors are doing some renovation. And I've tried to sneak past it. I've tried to record a video later. And as soon as I'm a bit into the video, they start banging. So there's not much I can do about it. So I'm sorry. Hopefully it's not too annoying. But yeah, getting at the chances. So each one of those chests, you're going to see that have the same chances for Arkham Knight Batman, Darkseid, Manta, Brainiac, Martian Manhunter. But Martian Manhunter actually changes. It's gonna go for all the way up to 2%. On this and this chest. It's 2.01% for some reason on the 4 times chest. But yeah, this is the legendary selection. And we didn't have that many legendary characters back then, and it was kind of a bad selection back then too, and it is a bad selection now. But this was the best chest that was ever in the game for people who were endlessly gambling gems for the sake of just owning a legendary character, just having that purple border in your roster, because there's a lot of you out there. I'll never understand you, I'll never empathize with you, the fact that you just want a legendary character regardless if it's good or not for the sake of having it, but this was the best day for these people. And that's how I got my Martian Manhunter, funny enough, because I opened it for a video and I guess I have Martian Manhunter now, and it is quite a decent amount of value. Wouldn't necessarily recommend it for new players if it came back, for example, because you definitely hear that banging. I wouldn't recommend it for new players, definitely, because the legendary character selection is that great. Like Brainiac, he's gonna have a challenge. Darkseid is not necessary. Martian Manhunter is not necessary. Manta will require a huge amount of investment. Arkham Knight Batman, you are gonna be more or less fine without him, and there's better ways of getting him. But if you're at the point where you don't care anymore about optimizing your account and you just want to max out the legendary characters that you have, It is not the worst chest, and yet again, it's pretty much the best chest that was ever released to satisfy that gambling itch that a lot of you have for legendary characters. So yeah, let's move on. And 2022 is the best example of the reason I say don't form expectations, and if it goes wrong, don't blame me. Because that's kind of what happened. I mean, you guys were pretty chill with me, didn't blame me too much, but this is what happened in the 2022 sale. Because people are hyped up from 2021. We're like, yeah, that's amazing, that's new, that's a lot of chests, that's a new way to open chests, that's cool. Can't wait to see what they do for the next year's Labor Day. And then they put up the Platinum chest, which is basically exactly the legendary characters we got on the cool Labor Day chest, but with a lot less effort and a lot lower chances, which was absolute garbage. And then we have the Just League theme chest, which is another bad chest that's even bad on sale and has some chances for the Just League characters that nobody cares about. But yeah, that's gonna be about it for this video. I have no idea what we're gonna get this year, but if we get something worth talking about, I'm gonna talk about it, so make sure to subscribe for that. All that being said, again, please let me know in the future whenever the new sale's coming so I can like cover it. Thank you in advance. I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye!